We continue learning 5 minutes of Bitachon a day, and today I believe we're going to see how critical, this learning of Bitachon is for all of us. So we just finished the 8th chapter, and the 8th chapter concluded with the important realization how we have to have ishtadlus. But if the focus is wrong, we could totally miss the boat. So one last footnote on the bottom, he says from Rav Avigdor Miller. Of course, whenever you hear Rav Avigdor Miller, you know it's going to be an incredible line. Rav Avigdor Miller said, there are presidents that thought that their greatest achievement was their presidency. There were people that thought being thrown away from their homes was the worst days of their life. And yet, the president was assassinated. The person thrown away from his home had his life saved by moving to America. Actions that we do are not nearly so simple what's good for us. So we have to realize, of course, we have to do the actions, but just realize that it's all ishtadlus, it's all part of just trying our best. And then Hashem determines what the outcome is going to be. And from there, we move on to the 9th chapter. And it's a very short 3 lines, but really powerful and penetrating 3 lines. Bitachon has to be on the heart. Not external. We have to take everything we're learning and try so hard to put it inside us. Says the Bais HaLevi. How embarrassing is it? 3 times a day we daven. And what do we say in Shemoneh Esrei? Mechalkel Chayim. Hashem, God sustains the living. B'chesed, soymech neiflim, He supports those that fall. V'roifei chaylim, and He heals the sick. We say it and we say it. Just think, in the last X amount of years, hundreds, thousands of times, we repeat again and again. And then, it's not on our heart at all. Until the smallest of things come along our way, we forget it all. And we run after the ishtadlus. V'chalila, says the Bais HaLevi. God forbid, what's this included in? Bipiv ubisvasav. With their mouth, we say the right words. V'liboy richak mimenu, and the heart is so far. Penetrating words, so difficult. We're sitting here, we learn about Bitachon, and then what happens? The smallest of challenges comes our way. It all goes out the window. We close the book, real life begins, and all of a sudden, it's wild how it just external, it doesn't penetrate. And the first step is to realize it. And on the footnotes on the bottom, Rav David Sutton once again, quoting incredible Mar Mekaimais, he quotes to us Avram ben Rambam teaches, when he starts talking about Bitachon, he says, Bitachon is a common expression on the lips of many. We hear everyone talking about Bitachon, belief in God, Hashem runs the world, but is planted only in the hearts of special individuals. Everyone talks about Bitachon. Oh, everyone says, yeah, we believe in God, but the way we act, Rav Olba and Ali Shur comes along, and he says it's one of the greatest self-deceptions. How we think, we are convinced, we talk, we believe in Hashem. But then the moment there's a difficulty, the exact opposite. Rav Chaltzik Levenstein comes along and says you could go through your whole life without touching Bitachon. And of course, this is very difficult. And of course, we have to have ishtadlus like we're talking. And we have to focus on where it all comes from. And we'll conclude with the words of Rabbeinu Yaina. Rabbeinu Yaina, note number 31, he quotes, teaches us that the pasuk in Mishlei, the wisest of all men, Shlomo HaMelech, teaches us, Ve'oisei emunai ritzainai. You have to act with emunah. It doesn't say you talk with emunah. You have to act with emunah. So It's very difficult. It's to the level that as we hear these words, we all ask ourselves and we look in the mirror and we say, we have no hope. The greatest of Gedalim are teaching us that when something happens, writes the Chazon Ish, are you calm? Are you relaxed in the face of a problem? Or are you uptight? You're anxious. You can't get over it. Where's your bitachon? So obviously it's a lifelong work, and I'll conclude with the words of HaRav Perr. He writes in his book on Bitachon, and he was a man that was known, a gadol in the world of Bitachon. And yet he told over in Vad one day, and he said over a story, we don't have time to be Meirich right now, but he said with all the Bitachon he worked on, he realized that when it came down to it, he was waiting for a certain person for a donation. He felt himself anxious, and he said to himself, where's my Bitachon? So step number one teaches the Bais HaLevi is let us realize, let us try to internalize that unfortunately it's very external. And only with a real realization can we try to take the words and work on it, a lifelong endeavor like the HaRav Perr always taught us, to slowly but surely, a little bit. It's not all or none. Push that bitachon a little bit deeper inside of us.